service, our clients have told us their businesses have been booming, and we found out too. What are you doing about your business? Do you want more clients? Do you want more people to know about the services that you do provide? Do you have a luncheon coming? What about your premieres? Call MBC. Advertise your birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, church program, or request our coverage at your function. MBC, at your service 24/7. Call 832-887-6452 or call 281-888-9502. MBC, your favorite station, sharing African views.
Welcome to Wazobia Market.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
Call Kayode Ajanaku, 9903 State Highway 6 South, Suite 600, Sugarland, Texas 77498. Telephone 713-776-3275.
Dawn.
Good morning,
in association with.
Welcome to our Saturday morning Dawn live show.
Are you in a hurry for Sunday to come?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Yoruba say Sunday, Yolabe, Saturday, or, you know. So good morning, good people of Houston. Welcome to this Saturday morning. It's a really lovely day out there. Again, the fall is coming in. We can see a little bit of the weather change. So it's been a lovely, lovely morning this morning.
But I guess it's going to be a long wait before the leaves change.
Yeah, look, just hold on. I was going to introduce you. You've been away for several weeks now. You're not used to the way I've handled this program.
I'm sorry.
But,
my bad.
Yeah, let me take you back to the lady that has hosted this program from the onset. She's been away for quite some time now, I think about 3 weeks. So I'll hand it over to her. Back to you, Jumoke. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. A very beautiful morning to you all, the beautiful people of the city of Houston. Wherever you're watching Dawn from, it's great to be back. And hey, it's been a very wonderful one, Prof. Seeing all the episodes. And you did a wonderful job, a fantastic job.
Well, thanks. I mean, it wasn't, I'll put it like they say, it was beyond my pay scale. So I just tried to hang in there.
Okay, so you know how we do it every Saturday morning. I call it your Saturday morning tradition here on MBC. And we'll give you a quick rundown of what's going to happen on the show. We're going to be bringing in two sets of guests for you this morning. Of course, the first one we're going to bring in, we're going to be talking about the month of October, which is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we just think we owe it as a social responsibility to enlighten women especially to talk about cancer. So we'll be joined by members of a non-profit organization here in the city of Houston who for years have been trying to take the message of breast cancer awareness and all forms of cancer to places to remote places. And after that, we'll be joined by a special guest. He's an artist who is well known in the city of Houston and beyond. And when we talk about saxophone, he's one of those names that comes to mind quickly. So don't ask me who he is because I'm not letting the cat out of the bag yet. And of course, our headline news and something you caught us discussing prior to Prof's introduction. We're talking about the much disputed, talked about story in Nigerian sports today, which is Sunny Olise versus Vincent Enyama. We'll have a video to play for you and we'll talk about that much later. Don't forget, Prof is very good with sports too. So those and very much more coming your way. But first, let's start with some stories happening around. They haven't been very pleasant in the last 1 week. We've had a series of shootings on campuses in the United States, you know.
Look, like I said last week, it's a problem that they have to find. Don't let me use the word solve, but it's a problem they have to deal with. I mean, it's really much more than an issue of just guns, because they are not the only country with guns. So, I mean, the Americans or this society at some time would have to deal with this issue in a much more reasonable manner. The issue of the political football that is being thrown around when this normally happens is, you know, it's always about gun control.
Okay, there's gun control, and some people were asking for more guns in circulation. That way you can tend to.
I call it a political football because they're just going to throw it around. They never really want. I don't think they want to solve it the way. Look, I'll put it this way: there's a group that wants more guns, that because guns do save lives too. And there's a group that wants to confiscate all guns. And that is why they keep referring to England and Australia who were able to do that. But I know that in their own minds, they know that that is an impossibility in America. So it's a political football. They're going to keep throwing it around, you know, and unfortunately people would, you know, eventually die. Not really because of guns, but because of the mindset of a certain kind of culture.
And looking at it, we had the Northern Arizona University. You know, we had one dead and a couple of others injured. I hope my producer can put up those pictures. We also had here in Texas, the Texas Southern University, and this one was like back-to-back 2 days when we also had the shooting. We had one. And something similar about the two stories, right? There were freshmen involved.
And they were all, I mean, I think in Northern Arizona, they were also members of the same fraternity.
Yes.
So look, and that's why I said there's something, it's beyond guns. This was more of a personal fight. I mean, these are people you know, obviously. This was not some random shooting, obviously. So, look, the remedy is what we're all looking for, you know, and it's going to be...
to me, at some point, you see a story and you're like, oh, I think I've seen the story before, because it's become like a repetition. Oh, I think I've seen this story. It sounds familiar, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so look, this issue of guns has been around for all the years I have been, you know. I remember my very early years in America, there was the McDonald's shooting, which was, I think, maybe at that time, one of the very, at least very well publicized killings. And then there was the other kid at the university campus, I can't remember where that was, went to a tower and was just picking up students and all that. So it is something that, you know, if you live in this society, you're pretty very familiar with this story.
Whenever we talk about the issues of gun and shooting, random shooting, mass killings, there is something that always comes up also, the issue of mental health.
There's no doubt about it.
I think it's something we'll have to talk about more in depth someday on this show.
It definitely has a lot to play with why these things happen, because you find out that really in these mass shootings, almost all of them have at some time had some mental issues or using certain kind of drugs and all that. So, look, can you really clean that out? Almost impossible. But we'll see how again this one plays out.
Okay, well, that's much we can actually delve into on our trending stories this morning. Right now, we'll take a quick break, and from our break, we'll go to the headlines review. And we will be back with our first set of guests here on Done, Get Set, All Women. This next guest and discussion is about you. You're welcome back to Dawn, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Like I told you, this is October the 10th, 2015. And earlier, before we went on the break, I mentioned that I will be joined by two wonderful ladies. Together, we will be talking about October, the month of breast cancer. We'll talk about the facts and the myths about breast cancer. Who should know about breast cancer? Who should be aware what we should do to stay safe? All right, so I'll start off with the introduction, and from my immediate right, I have
Claudette Bailey.
Claudette Bailey, nice to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you.
And you're a member of African Cancer Care Incorporated.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and how long have you been with them?
About 2 years.
2 years, okay. And right beside her, I have Dr. Eukaria Iwanyo. She is the founder of African Cancer Care Incorporated. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, and thank you for the invitation.
You're most welcome. So it's significant. It's great we talk about this morning. The month of October is the month for breast cancer. And if you're wondering, that's where you find people wear this, the pink ribbon thing. Yes, right around, just to commemorate the month of October. And you're someone, I met you last year when you had this health fair, where you made it open for people to come check their health status. It was just beyond checking for in terms of cancer. It was just general diabetes, health. Why did you decide to do that last year?
Actually, it's the health fair that we conduct is not a new thing. The one we had last year is not a new thing. It's something that Africa Cancer Care provides to the Houston community 3 times a year. And over the years, we've grown to expand it beyond just cancer, knowing that there are so many other health problems and chronic issues that people present with. So the little we can do is to try to create more awareness and screen people and get them to their physicians and get treatment earlier in life than wait till later when things become out of control.
Okay, so in your experience, how often do women, present themselves for this checkup?
Well, quite frankly, women do not, as a rule, present themselves for checkup. They have to be educated and motivated to do this. They should present themselves at regular intervals, but they don't know what these intervals are. And so if we go out and we offer the opportunity to them, they'll come in, they'll be checked, and hopefully in the future, from learning by coming in, they will know what the intervals are, and they will keep coming in. It's education is very, very important, because most people don't have enough information about health as they should. And particularly in the case of cancer, there's not enough information out there, because cancer is a disease that creeps up sometimes where the symptoms are not easy, and so it's sort of difficult for people to be diagnosed in time and get the right treatment. If they are, there are many cancers that can be handled, and patients' life expectancy will be quite long.
Okay. For the purpose of this discussion, we're focusing on breast cancer precisely. It's said to be the second largest form of cancer after the skin one in the U.S., And then at the mention of cancer, the first reaction from people, especially Africans, is it's not my portion, God forbid. But then the reality is it's out there and it gets in everyone.
Actually, cancer is something that can affect everybody regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your color, your age, your religion, your wealth. It doesn't matter. Child, adults, everybody has the risk of developing cancer. And of course, we are talking about breast cancer because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And everybody should be aware, men and women, because it's not just women that get breast cancer. Men also get breast cancer. Incidentally, women are the ones that a screening modality has been developed for. So they are the ones that need to know when they need to go to a doctor to get screened. So we will say, if you start off and say, what are the risk factors for I'm sure people will want to know what are the risk factors.
Yeah, that's one thing we're going to discuss right now. But you know what? We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what are the risk factors, what are those things you should watch out for as a woman in terms of the early symptoms of breast cancer, and how do you begin to educate yourself or treat yourself. But we'll take a quick break, and this is something from the event you hosted last year, the health fair, and we'll be back with you on Dawn.
Toda noite, bem suave caiu um dia, uma chuva, e com aroma a natureza se espalhou. Festas da natureza eu posso ver. A chuva chegou, a fome acabou, porque eu vou plantar para depois colher. Se ontem chorei, hoje eu vou sorrir, mamaué. Se ontem chorei, hoje eu vou viver, mamaué. Ulaya mote, mamaué. Ulaya kulya, ulaya zambi, mamaué. Ololololo. Ombela ya mote, mamaué. Ombela ya kulya, ombela sukudia, mamaué. Ololololo. Festas da natureza eu posso ver. Ololololo. A chuva chegou, a fome acabou, porque eu vou plantar para depois colher. Se ontem chorei, hoje eu vou sorrir, mamaué. Se ontem chorei, hoje eu vou sorrir, mamaué. Se ontem perdi, hoje eu vou vencer, mamaué. Ulaya mote, mamaué. Ulaya kulya, ulaya zambi, mamaué. Ololololo. Ombela ya mote, mamaué. Ombela ya kudia, ombela sukudia, mamaué. Olololo. Ulaya mote, mamaué. Ulaya kudia, ulaya zambi, mamaué. Olololo. Ombela ya mote, mamaué. Ombela ya kudia, ombela sukudia, mamaué. Olololo. A chuva chegou, a fome acabou, porque eu vou plantar para depois colher. Se eu te chorei, hoje eu vou sorrir, mamaué. Se eu te chorei, hoje eu vou viver.
Welcome back. Back to you, Dr. UK. Let's now move on to let's go to the brass task. What are some of the symptoms that you need to watch out for in terms of breast cancer?
First of all, you're not supposed to wait till you have symptoms. That is the problem with cancers in general. Usually you're not going to have any symptom. But the thing is, what are the things that you are personally supposed to be looking out for? You're supposed to look at for breast changes, changes in your breast. And this you should endeavor to do as often as possible. There are guidelines. But the first thing you do is to take a look at your breasts. Make sure you know what your normal breast contour looks like. When you look at yourself in front of a mirror, you're looking at the shape of your breast. You're looking at the size. The size should be as close to symmetrical as possible. In other words, as equal as possible. Usually they are not 100% equal. But if one is essentially a lot larger than the other, you need to make sure that a doctor examines you, or nurse practitioner, physician assistant, or a nurse. You also need to look at the skin over your breast. It's supposed to be smooth. It's not supposed to be like the peel of an orange. You know what an orange looks like. It has like some dots. So if you have this, something to be concerned about. You look at the color, the pigmentation of your breast. You look at the nipples. Your nipples should overall be pointing the same direction. If they are both pointing out or both retracted, that's normal. But if you have one retracted and the other one pointing out, that's something to be concerned about, because there may be a lesion, something on the inside, pulling the one that is retracted backwards. You also will need to put your hands on your hip and kind of lean forward a little bit, and you look at the way the breast damples. You're also looking for indentation on the body of the breast when you lean forward a little bit. If there's any pokering, like, you know, some people have the beauty dimples, those don't belong on your breast. If you find a dimple on one breast and not the other, there might also be a lesion behind, and you need to see a doctor. After looking at the size, the shape, the texture, you now need to feel your breast, and it's best to feel when you're laying down. But if you don't have the time to do that, you can also do that in the shower. You need to raise both hands, one hand behind your head this way, and with the other hand, starting from your axilla, you need to feel every part of your breast. You're feeling for lumps, gritty lumps. Okay, there are people who have dense breast tissue. Usually that's symmetrical, and that's okay. But these people are at higher risk. So at a certain age, you still need to have a clinician to feel you, because that kind of helps. So these are the things you need to look for. You also look for discharge from the nipple. Milky discharge when you're not supposed to be having a baby or pregnant. It's kind of maybe some hormone imbalance. But if you have bloody greenish discharge, that's a cause for concern. You need to get to a doctor to check it out.
You know, all those things you have stated look kind of cumbersome.
It's
okay,
not.
yes, but you know, for the everyday busy woman who is running here and there, you ask yourself, how often do I need to do this in a month, or how often do I need to do this in 6 months? You know, so let's talk about the frequency of how you check this.
Actually, the recommendation is that for young people from the age of about 20, they can do self-breast examination, and if you're going to do it, it'll be good to do it once every month, usually after your period, because at that time your breast tissue is soft, you're more likely to feel things better. For people between the age of 20 to 30, they should also start having clinical breast examinations by a medical provider. When you hit the age of 40, that is the best age at which mammogram is more efficient. You know, you get the best result at that age. From 40 and up, you're supposed to have yearly clinical breast exams and have mammograms. Now, any woman can have self-breast exam monthly, okay? And to be honest with you, I get mine done when I'm in the shower. Okay. You have ample time at that time to feel yourself. You can't look, but when you undress to get into the shower, you stop in front of the mirror, and it's just a few minutes. If you get used to doing this, it comes as a second nature. It's that important. Breast cancer cannot be prevented. I want people to be very clear about this. It cannot be prevented. But if you detect it early, and there's modality out there to detect it early, you detect it early, you have a better chance of it being treated and cured, go to remission, and don't reoccur. Okay. The other thing is that we're looking at ethnicities, different groups. I guess we'll come to genetics and risk factors. Breast cancer occurs sooner in white women. More white women get breast cancer, that's Caucasians generally, but when blacks get it, African Americans, Africans, is usually more aggressive. Okay. And even though I say later in life, actually I've seen young girls, 18, 16, back in Nigeria when we go on medical missions with advanced breast cancer. So it then behooves us to start looking at ourselves early in life, especially if you have if you're heavy chested and you have a lot of dense tissue.
Okay, you know, there's also the talk of it being, you know, maybe in the gene, like you rightly mentioned. If you've had someone in your family who's had it, you have a higher risk
of course. There are genetic predispositions to breast cancer. There are certain things that when you have, your risk for breast cancer increases. One of them is if you have a family member, a first-generation family member, male or female, who has had breast cancer, then you're at higher risk, and your screening should start earlier in life. And in that case, it's very important to discuss with your physician to find out when you should actually start screening and how often. You may find out that you may need screening twice a year, 3 times. It depends on what your physician thinks is appropriate for you. There's also women who, some families who have what we call the BRCA1 and the BRCA2. When you have BRCA1 and BRCA2, your family has higher risk of having breast cancer. And usually these people are advised to go for genetic counseling. And some of them, when tested and they are positive, decide to proactively do something about it. And usually it's either a surgical intervention or there's a medication called tamoxifen.
Did I miss it? What does the BRCA1 and BRCA2 really mean?
BRCA, they are mutations, okay, gene mutations, that if it runs in your family, it increases your risk. Having the BRCA1 actually increases your risk a little more. You have 50 to 85, and BRCA2 gives you a 55 to 85% chances. So this means that if you have 100 women who have BRCA1 or BRCA2, 50 to 85% of them have a high risk of actually coming down with breast cancer. So that's also very important. Now, the number of people in your family who have had breast cancer also increases the risk. Having a male member of the family developing breast cancer increases your risk. Remember, not as many men as women have breast cancer. So when you have males in the family with breast cancer, the risk increases. Okay. We also have some syndromes that also increases people's risk. So if you're also in a family that have some of these syndromes, it can get a little complicated. I don't want to get into them. But when they have those syndromes, it kind of increases. So, and the only way you're going to find out is by testing, checking out, knowing what your grandparents died from, your grandma, you know, we need to know.
Trying to dig into history, medical history. You want to add something to that?
You asked about the BRCA test, and people will ask when they hear this, because this is something that they probably have never heard before. And the easiest way of explaining it is that it shows a genetic tendency towards getting cancer.
Cancer, okay, okay.
So it means that depending on the score, you're more likely to get cancer.
Oh, okay.
And therefore, you should be screened out.
All right, so I would have wished to continue on this topic, but because of time, we have to really shutting everything. So let's move briefly now to, let's talk about Africa Cancer Care Inc. right now. It's a non-for-profit organization. You started the Pearland Walk. Work for Cancer, and I know you've done a couple of health fairs. So what are you planning for the month? Do you have any plans for the month of October?
Actually, today we have a health fair program going on. There is a Cyprus Houston Chamber of Commerce fair going on right now, and Africa Cancer Care has a booth there. We are able to offer people a chance to look at their risk profile. We will educate them, and we will make referrals to some of the institutions where you can get appropriately tested and helped or screened. We are also using the opportunity to advertise our work that comes up in February, and usually it's the last month of last Saturday in February. So next year will be February 27th. And what we do, we use that opportunity to promote all the preventable and all the screenable cancers. And there's just a few of them. You know, there's breast, of course, is screenable. Colon cancer, cervical cancer, and more recently, lung cancer, especially in heavy smokers. There's also talk about ovarian cancer. I would like to chip in that ovarian tends to run with breast cancer. So for families who have breast cancer, you also need to watch for ovarian, especially if there is existence of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutation in those families.
Okay. Yes. Well, so you heard it. I hope it's enough information to digest over this weekend, and also know that this month of October is a month for you to be part of the breast cancer awareness campaign. You can be part of it by joining the walks around. I know there are various walks to raise money, to make cancer history, to also identify with people who are suffering or who have suffered from cancer.
And if you need more information, we have information on our website. You can go to www.africacancercareinc.org, okay? Or you can call our number 713-995-8000, and somebody will talk to you.
713-995-8000.
Yes.
Okay, you heard that.
Yes.
Just a final word. Go ahead,
Can I
please.
seize this opportunity to mention also that we work internationally, and several missions have been done internationally in South Africa, in various places in the Caribbean, and we are available. If people would like to offer missions, they could contact us and we could work with people to offer missions in countries of their choice. We've been getting several requests from various countries, and we're looking into working with them.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. It's a great pleasure having you on the show this morning. Right now, we'll take a quick break, and this is a song from a group called OGD All-Stars, all the way from Nigeria, and it's titled Ayele. I'll be back with my next guest on the other side of the show.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
Call Kayode Ajanaku, 9903 State Highway 6 South, Suite 600, Sugarland, Texas 77498. Telephone 713-776-3275.
Welcome to Wazobia Market.
Well, that's a song that's just talking about the mystery of life. Some things you can't just explain. The fact that it's not easy for anyone in life. Well, that's what that song is all about. And I won't dwell so much on it because I have an artist who is here, whose life experience is something that you need to know. And like I said, he's a household name in Houston and even outside of Houston. Welcome to the show this morning, Sonny, Babs. Complete that part of it. Fere.
Oluwa.
You know, at times I just keep looking at me and I'm like, okay, how did you just, put all of this together?
Well, whenever the saxophone or trumpet is being mentioned in the Bible, it has to go with a victory. Mm-hmm. So I know because I hold the instrument. So victory is certain. So I'm the God's mouth. So I blow it. That's it.
That's it, and victory is assured. Yeah. You're welcome to Dawn this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about you. Like I said, you're a household name in Houston. You perform outside of Houston, and how do you manage all these schedule? Today, I know you have 2 different performances, but you just had to steal that time to come here this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it all boils down to dedication. Mm-hmm. Once you know what you are doing, I started right back from my high school, so I never knew I would take it up to this level. So the rest of the people that we started this together, I think there's only one person that is still left in music line. So, but it requires more time, challenges here and there. So if you don't really have the passion for it, you drop it aside. Yeah.
Now let's talk about that passion that's driven you for these years. So I was going online, trying to see a couple of videos, but I saw you had some performances with people. I've watched you perform a couple of times at concerts and all of those things. But then, why are we not seeing? Why are we not feeling your presence online in terms of a whole video from you for your fans to be able to watch?
Yeah, well, actually, I don't really want that because what I really want to do is just to go like church settings. And you know, when you talk about music line, one, it's a thing that if it's a core, because basically some people used to tell me, oh, you don't want to, you leave your church to come and play in our church. Well, I said, okay, maybe one of these days I will start adjusting, because I discovered that it's what you decide to do. And if really you want to do things for God, and you know, there's an aspect of doing it for God, and there's an aspect of monetary aspect.
Monetizing it.
Yeah, so then when you look at it, okay, now if you channel your mind towards that, then you'll be okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. But now when I travel to Nigeria, I talk to some of my colleagues, okay, you have to do this, you have to, okay. I said, okay, maybe I want to take it to the next level. Because I said, okay, let me just stay at the church level. I just stay in church.
That's where the vision is still for now,
yeah,
right?
let me just, but now the way things are going now, I'm trying to move it to the next level.
So even when you perform across the state, it's just simply in churches or weddings?
Yeah, no, I go to weddings, churches, and birthdays, all the events. So, but most of what I do most is churches.
It's churches, and you intentionally decided to leave it at that because you think that's where the calling is for you.
Yeah.
So let's look ahead in the next couple of years. Now you've said you're beginning to look at some other parts, right? Where do you see yourself, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line?
Yeah, I see myself playing around the world, because actually I'm talking to one of my colleagues in Germany, because they have a program in Germany next year. He's looking for a way to put things together. Then I'm still looking at it, can I leave what I'm doing in Houston? Say, oh no, you just have to step up. I said, well, if that's what God wants me to do, but you know, before you do anything, you have to seek God for direction. Is it the will of God for me to do this? Or because when you call some other people, we have musicians that the only thing they want to just do, oh, I just want my name to be here, there, I want my bet. But the only thing I used to tell people, that for just the glory of the Lord to manifest. Because like when I was in Nigeria, April, May, then despite the fact that I have a busy schedule, so I have an interview session with the Dove Media, then I have to go and play at the camp again. So there's a, how do we manage this? Then the pastor that gave me that link tried to match me with some of the churches to play in, my father's house in Magodo, and some other churches. So all of it, I never wanted to do that. But, you know, when people are there, say, oh, I want you to come and play in my church. I said, no, I don't want. You look as if maybe you are proud. So I don't want that.
So let me ask you this question. On a personal, so at this point, do you charge to perform in those churches, or you just do it as the Spirit leads?
No, I don't charge when I go to churches.
Okay.
I don't charge when I go to churches.
You just do it as a Spirit.
Yeah, but if it's outside church, then there is.
You know, in music generally, whatever genre you're playing the music, right? There is the thing about collaborations now.
Yeah.
You know, people collaborating, either you're in the same genre or you're bringing someone from somewhere else. Have you looked at collaborations with anybody? If yes, who do you imagine collaborating with?
Yeah, well, that's the, you know, when I started my talk, I talk about Nigerians, because one thing I look at it that in the music industry, I used to tell my friends that if you can break into the Nigerian market, the sky is your limit.
Sure.
Because, I used to tell people, okay, I want to play American style. No, I don't want to let me play my Niger stuff, because that's my origin. So I look for people that will copy Nigeria, not me copying, but I have a mentor. So, and my number one mentor is Pastor Kunle Ajayi.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and whenever I meet, okay, Pastor, pray for me, because I know where I'm going.
That's interesting. So now, before I let you off the hook, you're going to show us, you're going to give us a feel of that's your Niger style that you play for people watching to be able to see, and you know, so that they can also, some people are just wondering, okay, I've never seen him, or I've never heard his music, or I have, well, it'd be great to hear it again. So to satisfy the curious cats out there, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's one of the church songs we listen to, you know, and those are the things you do basically, or you bring some different line into it completely at times.
Actually, I don't want to play secular music. So most of the things I do, even though if I want to play hymns, I try to play hymns, even like things of our life or reggae. So some people say, "Cool, can hymns sound so that way?" So I just want to build my own style. I don't want to follow anybody's side. So when you do your own style, let it be what people want to copy. You have your own style, not you copying other
people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, my producer is asking me to wind down. I wish you could stay here longer. You know, at times it feels this 1 hour isn't enough for us. But I must say a very big thank you for stepping out here this morning, and wish you all the best with the 2 events you have today. And we'll hope that very soon, when your video is out, when your other materials are out, we'll have the pleasure of watching them on the show.
Very soon, less than 2 months.
Okay. All right, so you've heard him. In less than 2 months, we'll be having stuff from Sonny Babsirelua right here on Done at MBC. We'll take this quick break now, and I'll be back with Prof. And guess what? We'll be talking briefly about the ongoing crisis in the Nigerian Football Federation, talking about Coach Sunday Olise and Vincent Enyema, who is quitting the national team. We'll be back with you.
It's puzzling, really, because, and to say the least, I'm very hurt. I'm very disappointed at these character assassinations that Vincent has taken on my personality as regards this issue. If you want to retire, retire. You don't have to drag and insult and lie on somebody who did nothing. I will take you down how this went through. We called up everybody to camp. We invited 24 players. And most of the players, in fact, Obi Mikel came in on Sunday night. He was supposed to be here on Monday, which was very good. And most of the players came in on Monday. But I knew, because Vincent had gone for his burial ceremony of the mom, that he might come in late. He came into camp on Tuesday afternoon by 5:20 or 5:30. Just as the training was almost being over, he drove in from Lille. And he came in, and there are even pictures that we snapped when he came in of me hugging him, because I was happy to see him back in camp. But when we trained that day on Tuesday afternoon, I wasn't happy with the physical involvement, input of my players. So when we had dinner, before dinner, I spoke to the players and I made it clear I wasn't happy with it. And I needed an improvement for us to play more as a team, that we deserve better. And I could see the body language of the players, that they were very receptive and they were conscious of what it was. Only at the end of my speech to go to sit down for Vincent to stand up and say he wanted to say something. And I told him, I said, look, this is not the time to say anything, because we just had a discussion about how to improve things. We'll discuss personal issues after. He said, no, he wanted to say something. And I refused. I said, no, I don't want you to say anything. Please sit down. Later on, you can come to me and talk if you want something. He said, no, he was adamant. He wanted to say something. And I told him, I said, look, with all due respect, this is the Super Eagles. I am the coach. We're not going to have two coaches. I decide who talks when we're at the meeting. And at the moment, I'm telling you, no. If you refuse to do what I'm saying, then it's better you go out. He was still adamant and trying to raise his voice. And then I told him, I said, it's either you go out or we leave the room for you. And since he refused, I told him, it's either you go out or I'll get you to be taken out. Because you are stopping the team from even having dinner. And eventually his teammates got up and took him out and said, hey, come on, Vincent, try to, and then, no, I'm skipping on.
That's something from an interview conducted with Coach Sunday Olise somewhere in Belgium or so. Yes, Belgium, and that's an interesting angle because I was also privileged to have watched the Skype interview with Vincent Eyema from his base in France. Yes. And you know, these stories, you wrote something you called The Tale of Two Stories. I'm yet to read that article you wrote, okay? But for those who really want it, you can go check it out more. It's called Tales of Two Stories.
It's and I'm just, page,
and I'm just wondering, what's really going on? Why do we have the flexing of power? It's like,
look, like what I have said is that this is Olise probably missed the class in his pro-license studies, where he got his pro-license. One of the components of that course is what you call interpersonal communication skills development. Now, what are interpersonal communications? It is how to receive, how to message, receive. You're either the one giving the message or receiving it. Sending or receiving the message. Mm-hmm. Now, Olise he flopped on that. Mm-hmm. Look, you cannot have a problem with your coach, with your player as a coach, not in front of others, because you lose a little bit of steam as a leader. Olise should have been the one, after he addressed, and Eyema wanted to address, might have said, Eyema, not now, but Eyema wanted to say, okay,
I insist I want to talk now.
Yeah, so, you are done. So you go, you leave. Look, these are grown-ups. These are grown-ups. You cannot tell a grown-up, a man, because you are his boss, to shut up. Instead, you walk away and you'll be fine. But here is really why I call it a tale of two stories. They both have different stories. Eyema has complained, on his Instagram or when he first broke this, that the coach insulted his mom.
Yes, which I didn't see any part. I didn't see a reason for that.
There's no reason because it's a lie. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen. Why would he insult your mom? And
I would have really wanted the exact thing.
That is why nobody,
that part of it never came out.
I'm sure in the interviews he's granting is probably nobody has even asked him to say exactly
the exact things that the coach said.
He's telling them, don't go there. Otherwise, I'll cut up the interview. Because that's a question you need to ask. Now, on the same thing with Olise, in this interview, the interviewer, Mr. Ibitoye, should have had a follow-up question when he said, I took him to lunch, I paid for lunch, and he started to hint me about retirement. Mm-hmm. He should have asked, so what did you say to him about that? That's the next reasonable question.
So obviously what happens here is, somebody wants to retire, is hinting you about retirement. Somebody is planning to build a new team completely. Okay, and I don't see why there should be any kind of friction.
I don't think Eyema was planning to retire because he also should know that his survival in most English or European leagues is dependent on him being on his part of the
national team. Yes.
So he's forcing himself into retirement both in the national team and in Europe. So I don't think that was ever he's going to.
So are we thinking, are we hoping, are we believing that Eyema could possibly come back on board anytime soon? If
Olise should never take him back, otherwise he would have lost face completely as a leader.
So even if Nigerians, because now it's more people saying, okay, what if Eyema is willing to come back, or if they persuade him to come back to the national team?
At some time he was going to leave the team anyway. Mm-hmm. He's decided to leave the team on his own will. Let him go.
How do you think this will feel on the new team that Olise is building at this point? Because
really
considering the way you've related with
these are professionals. This is what they do for a living, and they all want to play for a national team because I said it enhances their stay usually in Europe.
Okay, this is quite an interesting one, but due to time we can't really delve into it too deep. And I've really enjoyed myself. Before I take my leave again and run off and then have Prof continue. Okay.
Well, we'll do our best. There's not much we can do. We'll keep pushing this program as much as we can. Again, like I've said, and you say all that too, go to our Facebook page and like us, and then come back next week Saturday.
Yes, thank you. We'll hope to see you again next week Saturday. Until then, enjoy your weekend celebrations, whatever you want to do, have fun, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Our clients have told us their businesses have been booming, and we found out too. What are you doing about your business? Do you want more clients? Do you want more people to know about the services that you do provide? Do you have a luncheon coming? What about your premieres? Call MBC. Advertise your birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, church program, or request our coverage at your function. MBC, at your service 24/7. Call 832-887-6452 or call 281-888-9502. MBC, your favorite station, sharing African views.